Let me give you an update of what we've been doing. So here is the fabulous group that helps us put all these things together and do our science. I want to give a quick year in review. One of the biggest things for us was actually moving to the Clark Center. So we're really happy to be new inhabitants of the Clark Center, and you can see how excited Ellen is. Okay, so Meg, our comms director, updated our website. That was fantastic. So if you go there, you're going to see all the studies we've been doing. This is sort of current, but it's sort of in the past. So this was our twins study that ended up in JAMA Network Open, a very strong medical journal, and ended up being on the Netflix show, the series. And the reason it's current is because, and last week we won an Emmy! Okay, it's not daytime television. It was a friggin' docuseries. It doesn't even make sense. But let's use it. Sure, we got an Emmy. Don't even know why we were on the list, but we got an Emmy. We're just going to go with that. So these are actually the things that we've been working a lot on. A study with the microbiome and the Sonnenbergs. A very cool study with firefighters. I'll point that out in a minute. The MOMS study, maternal offspring microbiome study, is 135 moms who were pregnant, and for the last 2 trimesters, we got them to eat more fiber or fermented food or both or a control group. We got blood and poop and pee and all the cool stuff from them. And wouldn't you think it'd be hard to study pregnant women? We thought it would be hard. Like, oh my God, miscarriage and nausea and who's going to drop out. 122 babies got born and are in this study. And because of a generous donor, we've tracked them till they were 18 months. And so we have not so much blood. Moms didn't want to give us blood from their babies. But we have a lot of poop. There were plenty of diapers. And so we are tracking the transmission of the maternal microbiome to the infant. And so the last infant hit 18 months just a month or 2 ago. And the donor has been so pleased with this study that she increased the funding to track the kids till they're 5. And 2/3 of the women have agreed to let us track their kids till they're 5. So that's what we do in between food summits. We've been tracking pregnant women and their babies. And a really fun thing came of the Netflix show. And it was that the head of the chief firefighter in San Francisco from years back got cancer, fought it with a vegan diet and many other things, is a cancer survivor, started a cancer foundation from the firefighters group, and wrote me an email after watching You Are What You Eat and said, have you ever thought of firefighters? And I said, not really. And he said, and we have money. And I said, okay, now we're thinking about firefighters. And so just 2 weeks ago, we got the 120th firefighter to sign the consent form. 60 are going to go vegan plus, or let's say plant-rich, because it's vegan, plant-rich, plus yogurt, fish, and eggs. And they're doing that for 8 to 12 weeks. And then we have a control group, and we're going to get blood and poop and all the other stuff. So stay tuned for next year. Firefighters are so cool. Everyone loves firefighters. And they all cook. They don't get takeout. They cook in the firehouse. They don't always cook the best things, but they cook in the fire. Anyway, that has been so much fun to work with. And another study that we did was medically tailored meals as part of Food is Medicine with the American Heart Association. And that study has actually had some issues. It was a pilot study. It's 60 folks. We're wrapping that up right now. On the left is an American Heart Association vision that with the Rockefeller Institute, there will soon be a massive Food is Medicine trial in the US to convince insurers to cover food the same way they cover medicine. So reimburse for food, for medically tailored meals, medically tailored groceries, and produce prescriptions. So we are involved in that. And so that team that I showed you, all those little circles of heads, have been sort of working with 300 people over the last year in these different studies. We have a lot of folks on campus who work with rats. The rats and mice show up every day. You can chop their heads off and everything. The humans are a pain in the ass. They cancel, they reschedule, So we've been keeping track of 300 of them with this amazing staff that does human nutrition intervention research. So that's what we spend a lot of our time doing. I'm super happy that we got to contribute an American Heart Association science advisory about what is ultra-processed food. That just came out in August. I don't have time to talk about it. I had the opportunity to serve for 2 years on the Dietary Guidelines Advisory Committee. In December of 2024, we released a 400-page report with a 1,000-page supplement that concluded, in the 400 pages, there's a 12-page executive summary, and the 12-page executive summary has a last page with advice to the departments of Health and Human Services and Ag that says, please emphasize beans, peas, and lentils. Please reduce red and processed meat. And please take that food plate, the myplate.gov, and where it says protein, when you describe it, don't start with meat. Start with beans, peas, and lentils, then nuts and seeds, then soy, then seafood, and last, put the meat, poultry, and eggs. And it's going to be thrown away. I volunteered for 2 years, 10% time, 20 of us, volunteered 1,000 hours for this service. We're actually government contract sort of employees, but we didn't get paid. And RFK Jr. has said, very much too industry-focused, too complicated, don't understand it. We're going to come out with a 4 to 5 page new set of dietary guidelines in 2025. Thank you for your service, but we won't use it. So that is the state of where we are right now. That's why we need great science at Stanford, so that we can do evidence-based health promotion. Okay, so that's a battle. What can I say? We're in there for the battle. We're going to stick with it. But this has been very, very discouraging. What is next for us? So our history has very much been human nutrition intervention trials. But over all our food summits, so we started in 2010. This is the 9th gathering that we have had. And over all of these, we have been edging more and more toward environmental health, because the intersection of human and environmental health is obvious. So, could not be more thrilled that we have a new School of Sustainability at Stanford. Fabulous. And they offered funding to look at something that they called the Food Accelerator. I don't know if Tim Booley is here yet. There's probably some School of Sustainability folks here. We got some funding. This was our pitch. Look at this set of amazing folks, cross-disciplinary on campus, some from outside of campus. We proposed that the impact of food on the environment was huge. To qualify for the Food Accelerator, you had to show a plausible path to getting a gigaton of CO2 out of the air in 10 years. And we said, well, the food sector contributes to that. And we think that we could take this new innovative approach. Instead of don't eat meat, don't have salt, don't have sugar, don't have fat, we say blow your taste buds away with unapologetic deliciousness, working with chefs in an institutional food setting. Who orders the most food? Not you or me individually, but schools and hospitals. And so we said if you scaled up all those schools and hospitals on the back of an envelope, we could get you to that gigaton of CO2, especially if we included work sites, military, and prisons. So we have an amazing group of people. We just got this funding recently. And the School of Sustainability asked us to give a pitch to some venture capitalists and things like that. Jennifer did an amazing job representing our pitch. We have a really cool poster. It's the one on the left. It's the front one on the left there. If you want to see our poster that has a QR code. And that title there, that really is what we're doing. But we also have a new postdoc who helped us make the poster. That's the header of the poster. And I don't know if you noticed how much we enjoy acronyms. So we have an A to Z study, a diet fit study, a swap meet study. And Erin decided as her new postdoc job, she would rename it SHIFT. Oh, isn't that good? Do you like it? Sustainable, healthy, institutional food transformation. That is our future. And that is actually the focus of the entire day today. We have a university panel, we have a hospital panel, and we have a school food panel. And that's what we'll be doing. And we now participate with Steve Luby's Center for Human and Planetary Health. Thanks to Tomiko, who's not here today, but Natalie, who is leading this. We have 130 members, and we're open for new members. So there's a thing to click on somewhere, like right, yeah, there. But probably there's other places you can click on it later today. So we've been holding talks and roundtables, and once a month we meet, and Natalie's really the boss. She's actually really leading most of this, and Tomiko and I just say, we approve, we approve, we approve. Thank you, Natalie, for everything you've been doing. So one last shout out. This is our group. Thanks to all the folks. Can you please give a hand to everybody in our team who has helped?